Welcome back to the show, everybody. Brand new show on and building off of the cancer surveillance gene and the 2 nutrients required to make sure that your body continues to suppress cancer cells from growing. So big follow-up show here. Hopefully you tuned in last week. That was episode 3686. If you missed it, no big deal. Head on over to stephencabral.com/3693. We'll link that up here for you today. And what I want to do is build off of that, talk about how the body uses a specific surveillance-based system to find cancer cells that are beginning to mutate, divide, and grow inside of your body. So the nice thing is, and I explained it last week, but definitely check out the show, your body has a guardian gene. It is called p53. And p53 is actually used to surveil. So it's actually looking for DNA damage. It can pause cell division. It can repair genetic errors, which then leads to mutations, which then can lead to cancer. And it can trigger apoptosis when damage is irreparable. That means when a cell has replicated improperly and it becomes cancerous, there is a signal called apoptosis that essentially allows the cell to, it's called programmed cell death, implode, fall apart, and then your immune system, like the macrophages, go in and clean it up. Beautiful process that our body already has built in. You don't even need to worry about it. You don't even need to do it if everything is functioning properly. What I want to share with you is a quick refresher on why the system may not be functioning properly. But before I do, I want to share with you why this is so important. First of all, 50% of all people will end up with cancer in their lifetime by 2030, which is a horrible statistic, right? A horrible statistic. Okay, much of that has to do with environmental-based toxins. A lot of it has to do with stress, improper sleep, poor food, etc. Okay, so here's what I want to share though. Over 50% of human cancers involve a p53 mutation. So this isn't like, oh, some fringe concept. No, p53 is the surveillance system. It is the guardian gene. And so when there is a p53 mutation or p53 suppression, what happens is the immune system is essentially blinded to these cancer cells that are starting to divide and multiply inside the body, right? So we need to turn it back on. Well, the way to turn it back on is always to ask what suppresses it in the first place. Some of the biggest things I mentioned, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown, but tune into last week's show. Artificial light at night, blue light at night. It is a big deal. But again, it's a big deal. It's not one of these fads. There's a lot of fads out there. This is not one of them. Irregular sleep and improper circadian rhythm. I've shared this before. There are no night owls. Let's stop pretending that some humans were meant to stay awake during the night hours and some humans were meant to be up during the day. Humans are not nocturnal. We do not have night vision. We are not predators at night. That we just aren't. I'm sorry, but like there's literally, you can pretend there's chronotypes and all these different things. Humans were meant to have downtime during the dark and uptime during the light. We can't see at night. We are useless at night without modern electricity. That's the thing. Picture living outside in a tent. You are waking up with the sunlight and you are going to bed with darkness. That is natural human rhythm. Anything outside of that is unnatural. We can pretend that there is another rhythm in the body. There is not. Every time studies are done showing people that stay up at night, night shift workers versus none, we see that they die oftentimes on average 7 years earlier. I'm not making the whole show about this, but stop. Influencers out there talking about some people are meant to stay up late at night. No, you're staying up late at night because the lights are on. You're getting a second wind, which Ayurveda talked about after 9:30 p.m. at night, and you're keeping cortisol elevated when melatonin is supposed to be elevated. Melatonin is supposed to be elevated during dark hours. We're going to talk about that. And cortisol is supposed to be low. When you throw off that rhythm, you are suppressing p53. Black and white on this issue. That's it. Okay. So again, I know I'm up on my soapbox here, but this is really important because some people are telling you it's okay if you're a night owl. It's not. It is not healthy. All right, let's move on now. So the whole part of this show is there are 2 nutrients needed to improve p53. Now, again, I could go on and say how important B vitamins are and how important vitamin D3 is. Those are all important. But p53 needs these 2 very specifically. The first one is zinc. p53 is a zinc zinc-dependent protein. I want to repeat that. p53 is a zinc-dependent protein. If you are too low on zinc because there's a lot of inflammation, not enough stomach acid, poor digestion, poor absorption, high levels of candida or heavy metals, or you're dealing with viral-based issues or autoimmune, you are most likely low in zinc. If you don't know whether you are or not, there's a great test called the Minerals and Metals test. If you've never run an at-home lab test, go to stephencabral.com/firstlab. Pick it up there for 50% off. That's it. Like, we offer 50% off for first-time lab individuals because this stuff is so powerful. Again, you don't have to run it with us. No problem at all. You can run it with whoever, whatever practitioner you want to work with, but know if your zinc levels are too low. Really important. Why? Zinc is required for proper folding of p53 molecule. Now, whenever they say folding, all proteins go through a folding-based phase, right? So proteins, they call it literally protein folding. They're using artificial intelligence right now to better understand protein folding. If proteins are not folded properly, then we get mutations, then we get damage to the protein. The body begins to age at a faster rate, maybe even have to deal with cancer-based issues, right? So zinc provides, I've talked about this before, it's an anabolic mineral. It provides stability. It provides proper protein-based growth, and it helps with DNA binding capacity. So important. Without enough zinc, p53 becomes misshapen, right? Folded improperly. It can't be read properly by damaged DNA, and tumor suppression weakens. So zinc, crucial. How much zinc per day? Most individuals need about 30 grams a day, not a massive amount. We typically say never more than 50 milligrams, 50, unless someone's dealing with viral-based issues, then maybe for 3 weeks or so, they're going to go a little bit up, maybe 75 to 100, and then they're going to drop it back down. And zinc is typically always taken with copper at a 15-to-1 ratio, sometimes 12-to-1. But again, you can run your minerals and metals test to see if you need more zinc, more copper, or just a balanced approach, like something like balanced zinc. Okay, so in subclinical zinc, which is what we're looking for, not blood work, but on a hair tissue mineral analysis, the minerals and metals test, we are looking for zinc, functional zinc deficiency, which can lead to impaired immune surveillance, reduction of antioxidants, and lower apoptosis signaling. I am one individual who does much better with a little higher dose of zinc. So I take about 45 milligrams per day. Doesn't mean it's right for you, but it's always been great for my body. When I go lower, my immune system isn't as strong. Probably because part one of my body type, my dosha, right? Or call it a somatotype, whatever you want to look at it. Part of it is because I do exercise. If you listen to yesterday's show, 6 days a week, right? So like my body needs the growth. It needs the repair. Really important. Okay. Zinc deficiency, chronic stress depletes it. We talked about that before. Heavy metals, any inflammatory process will deplete your zinc, especially if you're exercising a lot as well. All right. So what's the second nutrient? The second nutrient, I'm so bullish on this. I really am. It's melatonin. A lot of people find melatonin to be controversial. Totally get it. Totally understand. It's technically a hormone, right? But what happens with melatonin? And this is like, we can't deny this. Every decade after the age of your mid-20s, your melatonin production goes down naturally by about 10%. So by the age of about 70 years old, you are only producing 20 to 30% of the melatonin you were when you were in your mid-20s. So when we look at this, we have to understand is that we are going to be deficient in melatonin as we age. Kind of like we're going to be deficient in stomach acid as we age. But for stomach acid, we could use daily digestive enzyme. We can use ginger tea. We can use digestive bitters. We can use a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and a little bit of warm water, room temperature water. So like you can do things to strengthen your digestive system, and you should. With melatonin, you should use magnesium and adrenal soothe at dinner. But you might need a little bit of liquid melatonin a half hour before bed. That's not bad. That doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It means that you're supplementing what your body no longer makes to the same degree. Now, if you're tracking your sleep, and like let's say you're using Oura Ring, and you get 90 minutes of deep sleep, and you get 2+ hours of REM sleep, you don't need it, right? Supplements are only needed to supplement what your body needs more of. And if you don't need more melatonin, I totally get it. But if you need some, there's nothing wrong with that. It has been a game changer in my own health, and the more I read about it and how it can be, literally, it is called and this is important to understand this, an oncostatic hormone. It literally means it helps to suppress cancer. And this is why, I have to give you the disclaimer, I can't provide medical advice, medical treatments, medical cures, or medical diagnosis. When you're doing, we'll just call it cancer support protocols for people dealing with this, you're usually taking high dosages because we know that it's able to help suppress. So p53, melatonin supports it. It reduces oxidative stress, helps repair enzyme activity, promotes apoptosis of damaged cells, coordinates nighttime circadian rhythm, which p53 literally needs. It needs to know when it's repair time, and that's bedtime. When melatonin is elevated and cortisol levels are low because they're in an inverse. Melatonin should be produced during the dark and not produced during the day. I get it if you're a night shift worker. I've talked about this before. Okay, nighttime, you've got lights on, you're working. Daytime, you need to do blackout shades. You need to put an eye mask on. You need to pretend it's night. Not ideal, but it is what it is. Not all of life is ideal. I totally get it, right? We just do our best. That's what we're looking to do. But melatonin also improves blood sugar levels. It overall improves bedtimes, so much more. So let's look at it this way. Zinc gives p53 its structure with improving the protein folding, right? And the DNA damage. Melatonin gives p53 its timing. Zinc improves p53 and the protein itself. Melatonin says it's now time, p53, to go to work. When these are combined, what do we get? The best of all worlds. Now, combine that with the lifestyle. Turn off the blue lights at night. I should have worn my blue light blocking glasses. Put on your blue light blocking glasses after dinner time. Put on those amber lights. Get outside. See the sun setting. See the darkness. All of those things improve your guardian gene, which is called p53. Remember, suppressed p53 is indicated with over half of all cancers. So this is a big deal. Hopefully this was helpful. I'll keep talking more and more about it. I'll link up previous shows at stephencabral.com/3693. And of course, if the show was helpful, do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it could serve. Take care, buddy. Have an amazing rest of the day.